Dice, let these motherfuckers know you back on the block, nigga.
Welcome to another episode of the Gangster Rapologist channel. It's good to be back. Today's episode, I want to go back to Detroit, which we often do. But I want to speak about underground artist legend named Dice, who obviously doesn't get much credit for helping mold that gangster rap scene in the 313. Dice is a little bit different than what you might be used to hearing out of Detroit. We got obviously Eminem, Esham, and ICP, these guys that do a lot of, you could say it's shock rap. Yeah, man, you could call it shock rap, that crazy flavor type shit. Dice, if you don't know Dice, he has a few albums out there. The Neighborhood Shit Taka is probably his best one, which was produced by Esham himself in 1996. He started out with the 40 Made Me Do It. I think that was like in 1994. I'm not sure. I have the physical somewhere, but I'm packing up to move, so I don't have it with me. The record I want to talk about is Black Monday. I like this record a lot. I chose to talk about this record because you can stream it easily, Spotify or whatever, so you guys can check it out. I want to talk about the gems that I found on this record. I have the physical of this, and I know this record pretty well, and I always wanted to get the chance to talk about it. So that chance, that day is now. Dice, Black Monday. The record was his follow-up after he left the Real Life Productions camp. That was Esham's label, and it was not necessarily on good terms. There's a diss track on here to Esham. We'll talk about that. This record came out in 2000, so it was right before, I'd say, the next notable record out of the D was probably Esham Tongues, which was 2001. So, Black Monday. One of the cool things about this record is the producer. His name is Lord Maji, who did a lot of work for Esham and the Neighborhood Shit Taka. The Neighborhood Shit Taka came out in 96. It's pretty hard to find these days. If you go on eBay and look for that record by Dice, it goes for a pretty high price, pretty big penny. And for some reason, you can't stream it anywhere. So, I don't know, man. That's just how it is. You know how music politics are. It's one of those records that you just can't stream, unfortunately. So, Black Monday comes out after that. Lord Maji is at the helms of producing, which makes this one of Dice's best records. Arguably second place. We can argue about it. The record is filled with just gangsta shit. He's low-key, not doing the Esham influence type shit that he kind of went into, that shock rap on the Neighborhood Shit Taka and other cameos he did for that label. He's back to his OG gangsta shit. Dice might be the guy that helped Esham add some more of that gangsta flavor onto his records. I felt like Esham was a little more gangsta when Dice was in his camp. Listen to Dead Flowers. You could see that Esham kind of drifted away from that close casket type of flavor, that vibe, that wicked vibe. So then we enter Black Monday. We get a good old intro. Sounds like this is going to be an epic record. The record gets started with the actual track, the title track, Black Monday. One of the best tracks on here. The way it starts off, it's like, you're in for something badass. It's a gangsta ass track. He's just coming out hard on that one. It's just a great way to start the record.
Well, it was on that Saturday when I was rolling my weed. I had the bitches on my dick and with my dog Shahid. People knew my style was a rugged, rough MC. Bustin' shots a motherfucker who be fucking with me. Who you wanna see in my clique? No one you'll hear. Drinking 40s of beers, fucking over your peers. Don't give a damn and never did as a kid. I come rockin' and rock.
I love the track. Lord Magi on the beat here is pretty good. I'm not going to go over every single track, but I want to talk about the gems, the ones that I think are gems here. The second track, might be my favorite track on this record. It's Apartment 3 Part 1, featuring the late Razak. Razak was Dice's partner in crime. I think he might have a record out there on Spotify, but it was pretty unpolished. I don't know why they put it out. They should have did some more work on it. Razak is one of these voices of Detroit that's kind of villainous, man. He's got a rough kind of, just voice, a tone of voice, whatever. It's pretty rough. He never keeps it clean. The dude is gutter. He's gangsta. I miss that guy, Razak. Man, he was so cool. But Apartment 3 featuring Razak, they kill it.
It's the ruler Allah, zigzag, zig, Allah, queen, insane, Razak Rahim. I'm not only murdering motherfuckers in my dream. Blood spilled from Detroit, Michigan to New Orleans. Pocking a pistol in the back pocket of my jeans. From pockets out full of rocks, just for the crack fiends. Hello, nigga. You's about to find out how low hell is, nigga.
I say Apartment 3 is one of the best tracks that Dice ever made, if not the best track he ever made. I would put it in my list of the greatest of all times. So, if anything, check out that track, Apartment 3 Part 1, man. It just bumps. Lord Magi kills it. Dice, Razak kill it, especially Razak. He's got that flow. He's got the wordplay. Damn, man. It's just badass where he's like, I ain't getting a job. It's like, damn. The dude is badass. The way he flips his name and everything. It's hard to keep up, but check that track out. Another track on this record, What Up, Doe? What Up, Doe is a Detroit thing. I know that for a fact. And he's got just this track where he's just like, what up, Doe? To all these people, what up, Doe? It's a bouncing beat, Nothing too wicked or dark about it. It's just a funky track to cruise to. One of the best tracks on here, What Up, Doe? Later in the record, we get to a track called Cocaine. He puts himself in the shoes of cocaine itself. It's crazy. He just raps like he is cocaine. He's talking about where he's coming from, people he's killed, making women skinny, all that stuff. I know that there's been a lot of tracks done like this where rappers metaphorically take the place of an object, and Dice does that pretty well. He's actually very underrated as a storyteller. I've said it before about him that he might not be the greatest lyricist, but the guy knows how to tell a story, paint a picture, and you listen to his records and you feel like you got something out of it. Like you read a book or something.
Get the money, money. I've been around the world and back so many times I lost track. Loved by the drug lords in Africa and Iraq. Born and raised in Colombia, I traveled the seas. Most wanted by these Cubans cause I'm making them G's. Created by leaves, guns and gas protect me from thieves. Till they put me to the test, cut me up with some mess. I was too powerful, but now I'm straight for the US. The Don Mandela was a warrior. He shipped me on a...
Props to him for having that talent. He doesn't just come out and do rhymes and features for the sake of it. He's got a story to tell. Cocaine right here kind of proves that point. Apartment 3 Part 2. It's Part 2, but it's definitely not as good as Part 1. But Razak is always a welcome feature. I say it's pretty cool, I'd put it on my Dice playlist. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But then we get to the Isham diss. Kill the Fetus. Man, this is a crazy diss. One of the best diss tracks that's ever been made, but it's under everybody's radar, that's for sure. Hardly gets mentioned in the best diss tracks of all time. He kind of takes that Kill the Fetus shit that Isham was doing, and he comes across dissing him for the guy that doesn't believe in God. All this type of cool shit that he's just dissing Isham about.
No lies I tell. East scam my mail, so now you dealing with these evil angels running through hell. Earth, the resurrection of Dice, the rebirth from the home of the brave. Dancing on graves, blunts I blaze in mysterious ways. Busting AKs for 365 days, unholy. Your mama's a junkie, she owed me 10 G's.
I don't know if anybody's ever came that hard at Isham like Dice has. I'd say probably not. You know, Isham's always been kind of underground, not much of a reason to really diss him. I think Proof dissed him. Rest in peace, Proof. But then I can't really think of anybody else, you know? But that's it. That's some of that Detroit history. There's also beefs involved in the Detroit history, like any good old rap territory. Detroit ain't no different. Ain't no different. Fallen Angels, kind of just a camp track where people of the Fallen Angels Entertainment, that's the label that he was on here that put this record out. You know, they all come in and do their thing. The features on here, besides Razok, they're okay. You know, they kind of grow on you after a while, but at first I wasn't really feeling them, and I don't think they really did much after this record, anyways. In the middle there of all the tracks I didn't mention, I would say they're a little bit above average. You might find some that you think are just average, but all in all, I think the record can go without skips, in my opinion. But not all of them are going to be your favorites, and you'll know the ones that are like the crown jewels off your first listen. You know, Dice Black Monday, I gotta say, it's one of these underground records that you gotta check out. I put it in my rotation. I love the record. Like I said, man, the crown jewels on here are just straight out of this world and worthy of putting on your playlists or keeping in your rotation. The best tracks I gotta say is Black Monday, Apartment 3 Part 1 for sure. Cocaine is dope. You know, the tracks that I mentioned, and of course, Kill the Fetus. But I gotta say that the crown jewel of this record is gonna be Apartment 3 Part 1, one of my favorite tracks of all time. It's dope shit. You know, in 2025, Dice isn't really doing any more records as far as I know. He's got some other shit out there that is worthy of your ear holes. So check out Dice on the Spotify. Tell me what you think about what you heard in the comments. You know, Red Rain is also a decent album, but I don't think it compares to Black Monday. The only thing that compares to Black Monday is the neighborhood shit Taka. But Black Monday, I still got to give it its props. I got to give Dice its props. The dude doesn't get much props out there. He's kind of been lost in the shuffle of Detroit MCs, and it's too bad because he picked the gangsta lane for the 313 when everybody else was doing kind of that shock value type of rap. But Dice held his own. You kind of think about what would have been different if he stayed in the real life productions camp, you know. Maybe things would have turned out a little different for that label, for gangsta rap in Detroit as a whole. But it is what it is, you know. Legendary groups always split up, and we're used to that in the hip hop shit, right? That's how gangsta rap is, man. Egos, it's ego driven. Lord Maji, genius on this record. I can't say enough about it. Check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is the Gangsta Rapologist channel, and I'm out of here. Peace.